Berkman, Jason Michaels, and Jeff Keppinger is at third base. Humberto Quintero, Mike Hampton will bat ninth. And the first pitch of the game, a ball to Edwin Masonette. 1-1 now. The count to Masonette, who had his first career home run on Friday night off Ross Ohlendorf. He actually went 4 for 4 with 3 extra base hits that night. Masonette behind in the count, a ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, as you're going to be able to see here soon, I left him out of my keys, but I really wanted to put contain Masonette as one of the keys to the game.
And Mulholland strikes out Masonette. Let's take a look at Bob's keys to the game, brought to you by A&L Motors.
Well, Mulholland, we talked about this in the open, the big bats that he has been able to deal with. Well, he needs to continue to do that. Don't let them break out today. Nate McLouth had that day off yesterday. He's been in a slump. I want him to break out today and be a big part of this win. That's what I'm calling for.
Tejada takes a strike. Miguel Tejada, the National League Player of the Week, a 13-game hitting streak extended with a pair of doubles last night. 3 out of 8 against the Pirates during this series. Make that 4 out of 9 as this one comes right to Brandon Moss and another double for Miguel Tejada. So 1 out and 1 on, and behind Paul Mulholland today, Craig Monroe back in left field, second straight day. Nate McLouth and Brandon Moss, Andy LaRoche, Jack Wilson, Freddie Sanchez, Adam LaRoche back in the lineup at first base. Robinson Diaz catching back-to-back games. And Craig Monroe, like he likes starting in back-to-back games, facing the left-hander Nigel Morgan, getting a day off, so the right-handed hitting Craig Monroe against the lefty Hampton. Hunter Pence moves up in the lineup today to the third spot. Nigel Morgan with a rest today. Made a great catch last night in center field.
It looked like maybe he banged his knee or something. I know that Brad was looking at something in the dugout after that catch.
They landed kind of funny on his head too.
Well, maybe that's what he was looking at, his head. But he deserves a day off. A left-hand pitcher, day game after a night game. Why not? Standing next to Jeff Karstens, who pitched so well last night.
2 balls and 1 strike. Nigel Morgan last night. Watch this catch on a sinking line drive. Got the leather between the grass and the baseball.
He did hit his head.
Yeah. Took one away from Darren Erstad.
Oh, man.
So why do I do these things?
At least he didn't do the snow angel like he did the other night in Chicago.
There's a strike called to Pitts. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, he's done a lot of different things to get the attention of the fans and the press. And he's just being himself, having fun.
Oh, that's a tough crowd, those bleachers in Chicago. He had those guys eating out of his hand by the end of that series.
The 2-2 pitch, and Pence chops this one foul. Hunter Pence, 343, only 1 out of 7 this series. He's been hitting predominantly in that 5th spot in the order behind Carlos Lee, but today he and Lance Berkman have flip-flopped against Mulholland. Count goes full to 3-2. Berkman, the switch hitter, has been hitting in that 3-hole the first 2 games of this series.
Well, that might have something to do with those numbers we were talking about earlier with Lee and Berkman doing so poorly in their careers against Mulholland that wanted to move somebody besides one of those 2 into that 3 spot. It's Pence.
Stretching the 3-2. Strike 3. Blew it past Hunter Pence.
Good location. Elevated a little bit, kind of in the inside part of the plate. Yep, a little above the belt. Inside corner.
Mulholland reached back for that, and Pence has to take a chair. 2 down, Carlos Lee. .313. 167 in his career against Mahalam. Tejada leads from second in the pitch, and that is outside, ball one. Carlos Lee, 11 doubles and 1 triple. Trying to think where that ball would have to be hit for him to get a triple. He does not run exceptionally well. 1-0. This one's tap foul, 1 ball and 1 strike. Our Barrel Automotive League leaders stat on Paul Mahalam today. National League leaders on earned run average at home. He makes that list under 2. 1.98.
I've always said lefties should love pitching in this ballpark with that big left field, and all the right-hand hitters, of course, are going to face.
So Wandy Rodriguez number atop the list. That's not going to change because even though he was hit around the ballpark a little bit last night, that was a road stat. So he'll still stay on top of that list until perhaps next weekend when the Pirates visit the Astros. 2-1. There's a strike call, and Carlos Lee doesn't like it very much. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
We'll see why he didn't like it. It was on the outside corner. Hitters don't like it when the corners are called. That man does.
2-2 pitch. That is in the dirt, and it gets away. Tejada going down to third. Diaz the throw, not in time. As Tejada is able to advance.
Taking a little bit of a risk. I mean, he's already in scoring position. A base hit is going to score him, and a base hit's still going to score you from third. So you don't really buy a whole lot. The only thing you're going to get by taking that chance is now you could score maybe on an error or a wild pitch.
3-2 to Carlos Lee. And this one to left field. Craig Monroe is going to put this one away. And after a half inning, it's Houston 0, and the Pirates coming to bat. Buccos starting lineup against Mike Hampton and the Astros, brought to you by PNC. McLeod from the leadoff spot today. 31 runs batted in. That's the most among National League center fielders. Andy LaRoche in the 2-hole again. Freddie Sanchez third. Monroe. Adam LaRoche back in the lineup again today. Diaz behind the plate. Moss in right. Wilson and Mahalam to face Mike Hampton. And very happy to have with us for this half inning the general manager of the Pirates, Neil Huntington. Draft time. The month of June starts tomorrow. You get the 4th pick. I know it's an interesting and busy time for you.
It is absolutely. Greg Smith and our staff, we're all coming together down in Florida to put the board together, our supervisor group, and put the board together and get the best 50 picks that have the best impact on the organization. I'm not sure there's a guy, the type of impact that we were talking a year ago, but there's a deep draft. There's a good amount of high school and college arms. So we're excited about the 2 picks in the second round and feel good about what we'll come out with when all is said and done.
Unlike last year, there is only one, I guess, standout. He's going to go first. And then after that, you guys got to do your homework.
Without question, I think you could arguably put guys who went 1 through 11 would all be in the mix to go number 2 in the country this year. It's just a difference in talent. Now, you could also argue that this year's draft overall is deeper because of the number of arms, which is great for us. We need to get some pitching. And if all things are about equal, we may reach. And if we've got 5 guys that we're considering for the 2nd pick or for our 5th pick or 9th pick, we may go get the pitcher more often than not.
Well, we've often heard the term from a lot of teams in baseball about signability, and it seems like since you've been in control here, Pedro Alvarez was not an issue. I mean, it was obviously his history has been stated, but again, got the deal done with Pedro Alvarez. So that doesn't seem like that's going to be an issue. You're just going to get the best ball player you can get with that 4th pick.
Well, just because a guy asked for $8 million doesn't mean he's worth $8 million, and so that is a part of it.
Nate McLouth hits this one a long way, and this one is gone. A home run, Nate McLouth, to lead off the first. 1-0 Pirates.
I may have to stay up here a while.
Hey, Nate gets a little rest, puts up into the leadoff spot, goes deep. Nate McLouth, he was a Pirate draft pick. I think we have a list of Pirate picks that we're going to throw up here in a little bit. In fact, we're going to see them right now, and you can see how many Pirate picks are on the 25-man roster currently. For a team that's our market size, Neil, what is a good number to have on your 25-man roster, or is there such a thing? Homegrown talent. Do we need more of that than, say, the Red Sox or the Yankees? Is that more important to us?
I think it's our lifeblood. We have to be aggressive in the draft. We have to be aggressive in Latin America. But the reality of our market is that we're also going to have prospects that come from other organizations, Andy LaRoche and Brandon Moss and Ross Ollendorf, for example, because as much as we want to sign everybody, we're not going to be able to keep them all. So we're going to have to make some tough decisions, as have the Twins and the A's and the Indians have had to do, and we're going to have to trade some guys because we can't afford to keep them all. So there's always going to be a mix of players, prospects that we brought in from other organizations because of trades. There's always going to be a mix of guys that, for us to be successful, it has to be based on the draft. It has to be based on Latin America. We're going to have some waiver claims that we hit on because we're a little bit more patient or we find the right buttons to push. So we're always going to have a mix, but there's no question, Bob, to answer your question, we have to have the foundation has to be Pittsburgh Pirate drafts and signs.
A lot of times I guess you have to make these trades of guys that, because let's say you have 4 or 5 real strong pitching drafts at a time, and man, we need some middle infielders. You might have to give up that strength to get somebody else's good middle infielder. There's a good one right there in Tejada.
Without question, and that's where we're not going to reach down the board. We need pitching. It's obvious. I've stated it. We've stated it as an organization. We need to get some more pitchers in here. But if in a trade we can get a very good position player or a mediocre pitcher, we've got to go get the very good position player. If in the draft it's head and shoulders a position player above a pitcher, we have to go get the position player, and then we can trade the good position players. If we have too many position players, we can trade them for pitching. Starting pitching is the most expensive element to get on the free agent market, and it's also one of the most difficult things to acquire and trade because you need it.
Riskiest too.
And it is the risk, without question. In the draft, the history of the draft shows us that high school right-handed pitchers in the first round or really anywhere in the top 2 or 3 rounds, there's a tremendous amount of risk there. Now, there are certain guys that you look past that risk because of the aptitude, the makeup, the physical frame, the athleticism, the quality of their stuff, and you know what, you stare the risk in the face and you go after it. And there are a couple guys in this draft that we're considering doing that with. But at the end of the day, we've got to put a draft board together that allows us to maximize the talent in the draft, top to bottom.
Freddie Sanchez takes inside, 2 balls and 1 strike.
Tim, you had asked a little bit earlier about signability, and I can state unequivocally that if Steven Strasburg somehow mysteriously gets to 4 because 1, 2, and 3 choose to pass on him for any reason other than health, he's not getting past 4. The money is, I don't know what it would eventually take. It would be another interesting summer with his representative, but it is something that if he's there, we'll take him. Whoever we take it for, there's a lot of speculation out there right now that we're going to go cheap to try to do other things. We're going to take the player that we think has the best impact for us as an organization. If that player costs us more than slot, that's fine. We'll go there. If that player costs us slot, that's fine as well. If that player ends up costing us less than slot, that's money that we can reallocate somewhere else in the draft and maybe end up getting 2 players for the cost of a player that we weren't all excited about getting the first player. So signability isn't a driving factor, but again, getting back to the point of just because a person asks for $8 million doesn't mean he's worth it.
That one goes into the seats. And you talked about the word impact, and it's so different in baseball because in football when you draft, in basketball when you draft, in hockey when you draft, chances are you're going to get a guy who's going to impact your club right away. In baseball, I mean, people in your department have to look into a crystal ball, be fortune tellers, and that's not an easy job. Baseball is just so different in that way.
No, without question. I've talked to Greg Smith a number of times that in my mind, excuse me, the most difficult job in the organization is the job of the scouting director. The most demanding and challenging is the farm director, and the most stressful is the general manager. So we all bring different elements to it. But to take a look at an 18-year-old high school kid, and I hate the word kid, but that's what they are at 18. They're kids. Or at a 21-year-old college junior and say this is what this young man's going to be 5 years from now or 7 years from now as he enters his prime is an incredible challenge. And that's where we try to study the history of the draft. We have an organizational philosophy where we believe in X over Y or A over B, and we try to adhere to that because there's a foundation. We have a general rule, don't scout to the exception. There are some things that knock you over the head, and they're obvious, but then there are some other things where you've got to have a philosophy that you adhere to, and we feel a great job of implementing that over the last year and a half.
Sanchez gets the one-out walk, and now Craig Monroe coming to the plate.
I don't know how long ago it was. I read this article about we're possibly going to spend a lot of money on a young Dominican shortstop. Is that I mean, where are we with that?
We are doing our due diligence in terms of understanding the player's physical skills, his talents, his tools, his abilities, but also his mental makeup, his character, his aptitude, and we're doing our due diligence on a lot of players for the July 2nd time frame. Sano, obviously, we've been linked to. We're not hiding it. He was at the workout when we were down there in the Dominican Republic, and he has a chance to be a very interesting prospect. They're independent entities, and we won't cheat one to go to the other. Basically, if we wanted to go over slot in the draft, we've got a certain process we go through. If we want to exceed our Latin American budget, we'd go to ownership and look for an exemption.
And for the people at home, there's a big difference. Dominican players are not subject to the draft. They are essentially young free agents. As soon as
as soon as they turn 17, they're eligible to sign. If they turn 16 but then they turn 17 during the season, you're eligible to sign them, and that's where the July 2nd deadline comes in, is guys who turn 17 after July 2nd but before the end of the Dominican Summer League season, they're eligible to sign on July 2nd. So that's the feeding frenzy that takes place in the international scene on July 2nd. Once a player turns 17, it's a little bit like the Wild West. If Rene Gaio goes down and sees the guy throw 94 off the mound, he likes his delivery and arm action, he can offer him $25,000, he can offer him $400,000, and we can sign him on the spot. A player in America, a player in Puerto Rico, a player in Canada has to go through the draft, and everybody has the opportunity to see them and or draft them. But in Latin America and internationally, it's a more see him, like him, sign him type situation.
Now, you mentioned the word slot. For those who don't understand what that is, can you explain that?
Sure. In Major League Baseball, there are guidelines that come out from Major League Baseball as to what the first pick or the second pick or the 19th pick or the 5th round pick should get, and they're guidelines, they're recommendations. We can exceed those, we can come in under those, or we can come in at them. And there are players on our draft board that are looking for a lot more money than the typical 4th pick in the country could get. There are players that are looking for a little bit less, and there are players that are looking to be paid, for that type of dollar figure. Again, unlike the NFL or the NHL, where it's a hard slot system and you know exactly what the player is going to sign for, here it's a recommendation, and we can exceed it if we feel it's the right player. And that's where last year with Pedro Alvarez we exceeded it, with Robbie Grossman we exceeded it, with Quentin Miller we exceeded it, and a handful of other guys. And again, if the right player's out there, we're absolutely willing to do that.
Well, let me see if I'm right about this. In the NFL, for instance, if you say you're going to be eligible for the draft, you can't go back now and play college, right?
No, in the NBA and the NFL, you declare your eligibility. There's certain parameters where you can go back in, but
the NBA has a 30-day.
In baseball, I mean, you can be drafted and still go back and play college. So a lot of the players kind of have that coming out of high school, or if they're still underclassmen, they have that for leverage, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Keplinger to Masonette, and back to Berkman. Neil Huntington, GM, thanks. Get to work, boss.
All right, appreciate it, guys.
Right,
Thank you very much.
Neil Huntington, general manager.
Find a good one.
Of the Pirates, working on the draft. 1-0 on the home run by to lead off the first. Fourth career leadoff home run for the center fielder, Nate McLouth. And 1-800-SAFE-AUTO reminds you that you're safe at home with Safe Auto, proudly supporting the Obadiah Cole Foundation for prostate cancer screening and awareness. Early detection is the cure. Bob Walk, I'm Tim Neverett. Thanks again to Pirates GM Neil Huntington for joining us. A very busy time for the guys in his department who work under Neil on player development.
Yeah, he's catching a flight in just a little bit. That's why we were trying to get him on and get some information out of him real quick before he got on the airplane this afternoon.
Lance Berkman leading off against Paul Mulholland. 1 ball, 1 strike, turns to 2-1.
Yeah, this year, as far as the number 1 pick anyway, that is a little more difficult than last year. Last year, kind of okay, this is the best guy. We're going to have to go after him.
Mulholland just breezed that one past Berkman, 2-2.
Now, Paul's looking pretty quick. Best way to describe it.
Up in the mid-90s,
maybe not really overpowering people, but you see he's thrown some balls right by guys upstairs and in.
Count goes full to Berkman, 3-2. Lance hitting .235. Former Bucko Jason Michaels out there on deck. And that one's outside, and a leadoff walk is issued to Lance Berkman. So nobody out, and 1 on for Houston. Every Sunday home game this year, brunch with the Bucks at PNC Park. You can bring the family out, and you'll get a ticket in our exclusive World Series suite. Food and beverage service for 1 hour. A visit from the Pirates mascot. He's here right now. You also have alumni. There's some right there. John Wayner. There's the Rock.
Hey, that's one of what he does on his days off.
Access to the Pittsburgh Baseball Club is also included. $40 per person. Space is limited. Call 1-800-BUY-BUCKS or visit pirates.com to reserve your tickets.
Well, there must be a lot of food out there because Rock's are.
Yeah, that's my guess.
Well, he loves the all-you-can-eat seat. So I'm thinking he's got his daughter with him. Family night. Her family afternoon.
We were very lucky last night to be able to watch Sky Blast from one of the suites. And,
great place to see a ball game.
Yeah,
from, that's
boy,
for sure.
What a great seat. Look at the Rock. He's hard at work today.
He's there with his girls.
That's research. He's just researching for the road trip. Michaels hits one on the nose to center field. And on the warning track, Nate McLeod makes the catch up against the wall. Berkman will tag and go to second base. And so 1 out. And Berkman in scoring position now. So again, brunch with the Bucks every Sunday home game. This is a great deal. $40 a person. You get to sit in the World Series suite, food and beverage for an hour. Mascot comes and sees you. You might even see some alumni. And the views are absolutely gorgeous.
What was the beverage from, what was it, 12:30 to 1:30?
Yeah.
You might even see a broadcaster.
You might.
Got food and beverages there.
Just follow your nose. It always knows.
It's only 1 floor down, a little walk. Could be there.
Jeff Keppinger. 1-strike pitch. 1-1 now to Keppinger.
Berkman had a lot of confidence in McLeod catching that ball up on the wall, didn't he?
He did, and that's the second time we've seen the Astros try that on a ball to center field in this series. Miguel Tejada tried it, but it was on what was essentially a routine fly ball to center, and he was gunned down by McLeod.
That's when I think you're tagging up on a routine ball. You're not tagging up on a ball that might go for a double, because now you're going to be standing at third instead of possibly scoring.
Right.
Or, you know what? You might turn a double into a single by doing that, because you might get the second. Now the runner has to stop at first.
Yeah.
You know, if McLeod doesn't catch that, but let's just say bobbles it after it comes off the wall, now fires it in instead of second and third or whatever, maybe even second and a run home, you're only first and second. So there's a chance. On a routine catch, you know, that's when you try and tag up and maybe move on, but it's got to be a routine catch that's like in deep left field.
Now, Berkman sees that ball going deep. Now he's heading back to the bag at this moment, and McLeod has to throw from the wall.
See, that's what I mean by he had a lot of faith that McLeod was going to be able to make that catch. If he doesn't know for sure he's going to catch it, he can't tag up.
Ground ball to short. Wilson gets Keppinger, and he's able to keep Berkman at second base. Now that's one of those balls too where if Berkman had continued to go, that ball might have gone behind him.
Yeah, with a different out situation, then go ahead and take the shot. If there's nobody out and you hit that ground ball, you got to move up. But there's already one out, so taking any kind of a gamble to go to third doesn't make a lot of sense. We saw Tejada do that earlier, and it didn't make a lot of sense even though he was safe. You don't want to get thrown out at third base. You know, when making a gamble to try to get over there with 2 outs. Right. The odds are against you. That's one of the cardinal rules of baseball. You don't make any move to third base when there's 2 outs. And essentially on that, a routine ground ball to short, you're assuming the out has been made.
Quintero chops this one up the middle. Berkman's going to get waved home. The throw by McLeod is up the line into the backstop.
And where was Paul?
Mahalam wasn't backing up. He was out in front of home plate.
As it turned out, it might not have made any difference anyway, because the Keppinger didn't go to third base, and he was going to get the second no matter what because of the high throw. But look at Paul. See, Paul standing on the mound. He was all upset about not making that catch, and that's why he wasn't there to help out.
So the leadoff walk to Berkman ends up coming across right here. Mahalam was out of position, and the ball went to the backstop. Mike Hampton at the plate, one of the better hitting pitchers. Throws left-handed, bats right-handed.
That was Quintero that went to second.
Humberto Quintero catching the day game today.
Yeah, Hampton gives them a it's kind of like they're using a DH today. They got a regular bat in the lineup with Hampton. He has always been an outstanding hitting pitcher. He has some power too. I mean, he'll hit you a home run. What is he? 36 years old, I think now.
37. 36. 36. You're right.
I'm sure he's not the base runner he used to be, but you know, heck, he'd go out there and steal bases when he was in his 20s.
He was a tremendous athlete coming out of high school in Florida. He was from Brooksville, Florida, had a combination football basketball scholarship at Florida State. He was recruited to play football at Rutgers and at the University of Florida. So he had very good athletic ability. He was a defensive back.
When I first started out as an announcer and seeing him pitching in his younger 20s, he was one of my favorite guys to watch because he could do so much. He was so quick out on the mound defensively. He was a great pitcher. You know, I'm not saying he's not anymore, but he's not the pitcher that he was when he was younger as far as his stuff. And then what he could do with the bat, I mean, he was fun to watch.
1-2. That's in there, called strike 3. Third strikeout for Mahalam, but the Astros strike back and even the game. Manager John Russell said we were much more aggressive, ready to hit every pitch, referring to the offense in last night's game. Hitting coach Don Long said we always want them to be ready to hit, be ready to take a swing until your eyes tell you differently. That's today's Geico quote. There's Don. They have a lot of hitters meetings, a lot of pitchers meetings, a lot of meetings today, probably more so than ever when you played.
Yeah, we didn't have very many meetings. But today, just about before every game, meetings, look at film.
Well, I took a peek in the meeting room yesterday and saw some mathematical formulas on the wall I did not want to attempt. And Ryan Domit recently said that the pitchers' meetings with the catchers and pitching coach Joe Kerrigan are more like science class. Adam LaRoche leading off the bottom of the second inning of a 1-1 game. LaRoche, Robinson Diaz, Brandon Moss to face Mike Hampton. And LaRoche bangs this one foul. Nate McLouth, his fourth career leadoff home run. That was in the bottom of the first inning, accounting for the Pirates' run. Adam had the night off last night. Back in there today. One. This one is pounded foul. Speaking of quotes, great quote from his mom, Patty, in the recent edition of ESPN the magazine, talking about the boys playing for the Pirates. She was quoted in an article that's in the recent edition, and she said Adam was always the one grounded, meaning he was grounded 3 out of every 4 weekends. And this one toward the middle, Miguel Tejada. And that's
I like what you said the other night about the Sin and Andy running across the yard.
Well,
the older brothers.
Yeah, the younger brother Andy, they used to put him in a batting helmet, and the older brothers Adam and Jeff, who'd send him to run across the yard, and they'd shoot BB guns at him.
They could practice at a moving target.
That's why Andy's the fastest of the 3 running.
Yeah, outrun BB guns.
Not recommended, folks. There's Robinson Diaz reaching for this one, and it's out of play.
Yes, that is for those of you at home. It's one of those don't try this at home things.
Or try it at home or on the road, anywhere. But the LaRoche brothers, there's Jeff, the older one, was a left-handed pitcher in the minor leagues. And
well, I told you what Doug Drabick told me. I guess it was a couple of years ago. He was with us in the booth for a couple innings, and he said he knew them when they were little, and their dad was a pitching coach, and he said they were just crazy, running all over the place all the time. And Doug knows something about little boys running crazy all over the place. He had a couple of his own here.
Diaz, a 1-ball, 2-strike count. 1 out, bottom of the second of a 1-1 game. And Hampton into the wind and the pitch. It's inside and low.
That's what little boys are supposed to do, though.
I guess so.
It's in their DNA.
Supposed to run around, have a good time.
Yep. Supervise the BB guns, though.
Yeah. Lock those up.
Things can put an eye out, you know.
I saw that movie. 2-2 pitch. And Diaz rolls this one down to Keppinger. There are 2 away. Well, Dave LaRoche is the patriarch of the family. There's the la-la-lob right there. The Ephus pitch. Oh, try to hit that.
A tough pitch to get called for a strike.
It's even worse to swing and miss.
Yeah.
Dave LaRoche, now the AAA pitching coach with the Toronto Blue Jays. He's in Las Vegas. And ironically, the sister in the LaRoche family lives in Vegas. So that's where Dave is. Coaching with the Jays. Brandon Moss, 0-1.
Who was that missed that? Was that Gorman Thomas? Big right-handed hitter.
Could have been.
Powder blue uniform.
Speaking of powder blue, you see what the Jays are wearing these days? The old ones from 1977, 78.
Really?
They're wearing those powder blues a lot. Kansas City also has gone back to the powder blues.
Well, you don't ever throw away anything. It always comes back around. I got some old ties that I keep. I know they'll come back in style.
I think we saw one on the last road trip, didn't we?
Oh, my. I'll never live down that tie.
See if they're like fatter than, 6 or 7 inches wide. You probably want to put that back in the closet.
Yeah, but they'll be back just like the powder blue uniforms.
Pillbox hat 30 years ago. About time for that one to come back around.
Yeah.
Those will be given out at a future game.
My
here at PNC Park this summer.
2 years as a Pirate, we wore those.
That one is back. 0-2. Who gave out the stars that the 2 years you wore them?
Stargell was still here. He was a coach then, but
was he still giving him as a coach?
Well, no, we didn't. The first couple of years, I know one of those years we lost over 100 games. There wasn't a lot of earning of stars back then. We were a ways from the 79 team.
This one is going to just miss. Wow. That would have been 2 for Brandon Moss.
Yeah, Willie had become a coach when I joined the Bucks.
Tony Beasley's got a star.
Mm-hmm.
very unique tradition in baseball. 0-2. And Moss strikes out. And the inning is over. 1-2-3. They go in the second. As the parent tried his hand. A little videography before the game.
No, he's always working hard. He does anything he can to try and help out. He works for his bird seed.
I think they noticed there wasn't any film or any cables attached to that camera.
No, that's an RF camera.
Oh,
you
it
don't
is.
need
Okay.
cables.
That's a real camera.
You don't need any cables.
You don't need a bird suit to operate that one. 1-1, top of the third.
You need good hands, though. Ed's got those. He snags them, foul pops.
Yeah, Ed's in the dangerous area. Thumbs up, says Ed. Mason Ed takes high. I think Ed might be the only camera guy to bring his own glove.
He's got good hands. He needs no glove. You know what's fun, though, on real hot days? Is to see if you can hit Ed with ice cubes.
Yeah, he can't see him coming.
See, it's not that far.
Yeah.
Look at it.
2 balls, 1 strike, and Mason Ed pops this one back up to the right of our cameraman Ed, who didn't have a chance at it.
He can only leave the camera as far as his headset cord will allow him to go.
Well, imagine that, Bob. A guy that caught that foul ball is.
There's not much range there.
No, but the guy that caught that foul ball is wearing a black T-shirt and a pirate hat. Mason Ed grounds out to Jack Wilson.
You know, Greg's brother threw out the first pitch today.
Greg Brown's brother?
Yeah, Charlie.
Ah, there he is. That's a great looking sweater, huh?
Yeah, here it is. I guess some things never change.
Charlie crossed him up.
Oh, Sundays are kids' days here at the ballpark.
Poor Chuck.
Yeah, that's all right. Tomorrow they're going to have him try and kick a football.
Bird brain. No balls and 1 strike, 1 out. Miguel Tejada, who doubled and was stranded in the first inning. Check swing. That'll peel down to first base. Wally Bell says, nope, didn't go. 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, yeah, I mentioned the kid. Another thing from last night on radio, when you and I were doing radio together, we said, hey, the guy caught a foul ball, was wearing a black shirt and a Pirates hat. I said, well, that narrows it down.
Yeah. About 10,000.
Andy LaRoche. Now Jack Wilson doesn't get him.
Ooh.
Very close play at first base.
I'd like to see a slow-mo replay of that. Thought that Jack had nipped him.
Andy LaRoche will be charged with an error here.
Yep, should have made that play. Jack is so good at being at the right place at the right time on those deflections. There you see, is he safe? Well, trailer says he was there. I don't know.
Hunter Pence with one out and Tejada at first base. Tejada now 1 for 2. And this one to the right side. And Brandon Moss has a long run, but Tejada's not going to advance past second base.
No, that, you know, you're looking at a lot of the players I am in the lineup here that there's not a lot of speed. You know, you get Michael Bourne can really fly. And Pence can run decent. But Berkman, he's just okay, and Tejada, boy, right there you can see he's not really all that fast. You know, most middle infielder types definitely get to third base on that ground ball to right field, especially where Moss was playing. And of course, Lee, who's at the plate now, doesn't run well at all.
Carlos Lee flying out to left field to end the first inning.
But they got a ballpark. It's very conducive to the home run ball.
And Lee.
Foul ball.
That's a loud foul. A lot higher than it was longer. You thought that one was a little bit better hit off the bat.
A black hat, but not a pirate shirt.
1-1 pitch. That was high and in.
Paul is getting that ball up there pretty good. That one in the 90s, well placed. Put it letter high.
This one to the right side, and Adam LaRoche will backhand. He'll step on first and take the out. 2 men are out, runners on second and third. This Thursday, the Pirates take on the New York Mets. It's a 12:35 matinee game, a business person special here at PNC Park. It's also a T-shirt Thursday. All fans receive a T-shirt whenever they enter the ballpark. For tickets, visit Pirates.com or call 1-800-BUY-BUCKS. Also, it's an alumni autograph day pregame in the Hall of Fame Club featuring Stan Belinda, Chris Peters, and Elroy Face. So a big day on Thursday. Business person special. Early start, 12:35 against the New York Mets. Lance Berkman takes ball one. Berkman walked and scored the Houston run.
Well, it's important now that we stay with those A&L keys, one of them anyway. Berkman a chance to do some damage.
Berkman just wide of third base. One ball, one strike. Lance Berkman, one of the better switch hitters you're going to run across. One pitch. He takes that one high. Sitting on 298 home runs for his career. Needs 2 more to become the 7th switch hitter in history to get to 300 homers.
You talk baseball history too. You're talking a bunch of names.
2-1. 2-2.
Over 100 years of switch hitting. And you're number 7.
Yeah. Tied for first in slugging percentage for a switch hitter with Mickey Mantle. Talked about that the other night. It's a pretty good name. 2 outs, 2 on. Mahalam stretch. Now the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. We'll go to the bottom of the third, even at 1.
It's on.
Nice crowd on hand on this Sunday Kids Day at PNC Park. A 1-1 game. Bottom of the third inning. Jack Wilson leads off against Mike Hampton. Wilson, then Mahalam, and then the top of the order, Nate McLeod. Pirates went down in order in the bottom of the second inning. Wilson, 2 for 4 last night with 2 doubles. After being 0 for 4 the night before. So 2 out of 8 in the series. Now the guy who's facing, Mike Hampton. It's amazing that Mike has come back, first of all.
You know, I mentioned that 2003 number. Well, he hadn't seen us, and he hadn't seen a lot of people since 2003.
And a strike on the corner, 2-2. In fact, he had, with Atlanta in 2005, 12 appearances before getting hurt, tried to come back, had 10 minor league rehab appearances, then didn't pitch till he would come back last year with Atlanta. To the left side, Keppinger spins and fires, and he's got Wilson 1 away.
Yeah, his days on the DL pretty amazing when you look at it over the last 4 seasons.
In 2000, the offseason in 2000, after his year with the Mets, the Colorado Rockies, I think they thought that they were going to get 80,000 a game every game, attendance-wise, and the money machine was never going to stop rolling. They gave Mike Hampton the largest contract in sports history at the time. It's since now number 25 on that list. 8 years, $121 million. He only pitched 2 seasons in Colorado. It was extremely disappointing, and then they ended up sending his contract to the Marlins, which in turn sent it to the Atlanta Braves. And then he had the torn flexor muscle in his elbow. Tried to come back. They discovered it was torn again. He had an oblique tear.
The oblique tear, it was in did that warming up for a start against us in the very beginning of the year.
Exactly. And did that in the bullpen. Missed 2 complete seasons. 2006, 2007, didn't pitch at all. Anywhere. On his comeback trail, they sent him to Mexico to have 1 winter league start.
That's why I kind of laugh when people, I don't laugh out loud, but I laugh inside when I hear not as much anymore, but used to fans and some baseball people, they talk about the risk of signing amateur pitchers.
Mahalo toward the middle. Masonette with a nifty play, and he retires Paul Mahalam.
Given so-and-so out of high school $1.5 million or whatever, the risk is signing veteran big league pitchers to long-term contracts for, in some cases, over $100 million. That's the risk. Those are way riskier than giving any amateur player any amount of whatever money.
You look at the Colorado situation with Hampton's contract, 8 years, $121 million. The same year,
back that up with Nagel.
Denny Nagel had a huge deal.
It's $50 million for 5 years.
Not to mention the deal they had with Larry Walker, Charles Johnson. I mean, they just opened up the vault and said, "Here, what do you guys want?" And it ended up hamstringing them. They're still on one of those contracts left. That's Todd Helton, who's making $16.6 million this year. And that one is inside. Well, we talked about Hampton getting hurt. This was April 3rd.
Last year
In the bullpen, warming up before the game against the Pirates.
And we were talking about how hurt he had been and how he'd missed so much time. And then, sure enough, he doesn't come out for the first pitch. Hurt again. That was going to be his first start of the season.
It's been a frustrating time, certainly for him, but
this is this is nothing against him.
McLeod bangs this one to right field. He's 2 for 2.
And I've always said too, I mean, what are the players supposed to do when the owners open up the vaults like you said they did in Colorado? Say no, $100 million. keep it. I'll take 10.
Yeah.
No, of course they're not. Of course they're going to take that money, and they can't help it if you know, especially a pitcher. Well, if his elbow blows out, his elbow blows out. What's he going to do?
The top 2 contracts in sports history belong to the same guy. Alex Rodriguez, who had the big one with Texas, and then his new one with the Yankees, topped that. Making $27 million a year in New York. 1 ball and no strikes to Andy LaRoche.
That's where the risk is. And another thing about, you know, throwing $5-6 million in an amateur player coming out, that's kind of like a one-time shot. You're not paying for that for the next 6-7 years. If you make a mistake, it's over with.
And more to your point, I think, is that you'd rather pay a guy the money, see him develop, be in control of him for a number of years, rather than pay a guy that you'll end up paying not to play ultimately. Nate McLouth was 2 for his last 31 coming into play today, and now is 2 for 2 with a homer and a single. Worst slump of his career at 1 for 25 before his first at bat home run today. Changing it up yesterday, cut his hair quite a bit. Not the usual coif we're used to seeing from Nate McLouth. 2-1. And LaRoche right back at Hampton. Hampton just defending himself, and he's able to throw out LaRoche. Pirates get a hit, strand one. We'll head to the 4th. Steve Blass with the catch.
How about that parrot? Every day, the Jolly Roger and the Parrot got this started a couple of years ago, tries to hit Steve Blass with his last hot dog of the day. And we've gotten to really enjoy that part of the afternoon or the evening. And Steve got that one right to him. That was a heck of a shot.
No balls and 1 strike to Jason Michaels. Michaels flied out to center field fairly deep in the 2nd inning. Nate McLouth caught the ball like Steve Blass caught that hot dog.
It was routine, chest high, beautiful, nice feed.
Good pitch on the outside corner, 1-2. Yeah, he's
good
still got the
feed on
hands.
the dog.
Yep. Steve's going for the broadcaster's Gold Glove, I hear.
Brownie's not going to like to hear that.
1-2, and this one wide to third.
Brownie's so proud of the fact that he caught a foul ball 10 years ago that he still talks about it like it was yesterday.
Hot dog's a little softer than the baseball, a little easier to catch. Here's the wide of the 1-2. And that one's hammered.
Didn't you catch a fly ball on the last trip or something? Couple trips? There it is. He's bagging. Come on.
Let's see.
He's bagging. Okay.
Give him a target, Steve. Come on now. There it is. Look at that. Notice the technique. He took a step back in order to judge it correctly and used 2 hands to catch it. Showing a good example to the youngsters on Kids Day.
I want to see him eat that hot dog one time.
2-2 pitch hit to right. Brandon Moss.
Just like Blas. 2 hands.
There it is.
There's the shot.
Yeah, he puts a little bit extra into that.
Look at him. He's a proud parrot.
You got to understand what a long shot that actually is. We're way up on top of the stadium. Michaels is out. Here's Keppinger. I was trying to think which one you were talking about on the road trip. I'm trying to think where we could. I caught a hot dog over here.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of the hot dog. Yeah. Was when you were working with Steve and it went your way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So here's where
we're up top.
There's where the Blast 50 is. That's where Steve's at, and you can see what a nice shot that was from the dugout of the Astros.
He has to account for windage and everything. That's pretty good. This one's to left, and Craig Monroe.
Inning started with a routine hot dog and ended with a routine fly. Oh wait, there's only 2 outs. I'm running off the field already.
It's happened before. Time for today's Aflac trivia question. As we look at boats on the Allegheny today. All right, among pitchers, who has recorded the most runs batted in?
That was who caught the most hot dogs.
As a batter. Among active pitchers,
has
recorded the most RBIs as a batter. Think about that. And a strike is called. No balls, 1 strike.
Well,
Alberto Quintero.
I'm sure it would have been Hampton if he hadn't had all those injuries and missed all that time. I'll think about it for a moment now.
Quintero to right. 2-out single.
Who's starting for the Mets tomorrow?
Livan Hernandez.
I'm guessing Livan Hernandez.
Is that your final answer?
Final answer. I thought there was 3 outs. What are we doing out there?
We added another out just for you.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to go with the that's what it was.
What was it?
Pete in the trailer just bailed me out. I counted the catch Steve made as the first out.
And Hampton to right. Going back on it is Moss. Moss on the track, and he'll make the catch up against the Clemente wall as Mike Hampton gave it a ride. The runs a hit a man left as Brandon Moss has to go a long way to track down this Mike Hampton hit. And Steve Blas with great hands. Here is the answer. The question first. Among active pitchers, who has recorded the most RBIs as a batter? And Bob Walk was not correct. It's not Livan Hernandez. It is Tom Glavine. 90 runs batted in. Mike Hampton next with 75. That was the most correct thing you said about that, was that if he hadn't had all those injuries and missed 2 seasons, he probably would be the active leader from the pitcher spot.
There's always a sliver of truth in the stuff I say.
Yeah.
You just have to dig for it sometimes.
Mike Hampton gave that ball a pretty good ride there at the end of the top of the 4th that Brandon Moss had to track down up against the wall.
I was trying to think along with Vodonik there. You know, he tries to make you think it's Hampton, the obvious thing, but then there's always something else that might tie it in. And you know, Hernandez, a very good hitter.
Well, Mark Vodonik, our associate producer, comes up with those questions solely with the purpose of stumping Bob Walk.
Yep.
And Mark was successful today, for the most part.
Boy, last year was an incredible battle. There were some days where he came up with some masterpieces.
1-1 to Freddie Sanchez. Freddie walked his first time and then was erased as part of a double play hit into by Craig Monroe. And this one toward the middle. Miguel Tejada play the hop, fires to first and gets Freddie 1 down. Tejada covers a lot of ground, especially to his left. Very good going to the left. Now Craig Monroe 0 for 1. Craig hitting .246 coming into the game, dropped a little bit down to .242. 3 home runs, 15 runs batted in. And Craig is overdue to launch one.
I was just thinking that when you're talking about his numbers, most of them come as starts. Almost all of his damages come in starts. Hasn't done much off the bench as a pinch hitter, but he's starting today, and so I think he's due to hit one out of this ballpark.
He hit one on the road to dead center field in Washington at Nationals Park. That was his last one on the 18th of May. And this one toward the middle. Tejada again to his left and makes the play. 2 down.
Got a nice breeze today blowing out. Probably haven't seen the last home run of the day.
I doubt it. I think you're right.
The big American flag is out pretty nicely, and it's blowing out toward the river. Come on, Adam, think river ball.
Gorgeous look at this ballpark.
Nice pattern in the grass, this homestand.
Yeah, it's different.
Really nice.
Adam LaRoche takes a strike.
There it is. Beautifully done.
Where can I get a lawnmower that does that?
I don't know. You have to talk to Manny about that.
This one toward the middle. It ramps up off the mound, and this is a base hit.
I think that might have caught a little of Hampton's foot, too.
Hit the mound, and he couldn't find it.
And the way that ball went straight up, I think it got a piece of his foot. Yeah, his left foot. I think that also is why he was looking in that direction. He's going to move. He knows the ball's hit him in the foot, so he's going to move that direction to see if he knocked the ball down, and it crawled over him to the backside.
Looked like it was ticketed for center field anyway, and had he not got a foot on it, it might have gone the other way. To the right side, Masonette will throw out Robinson Diaz, who went up their first ball swinging. Score still tied after 4 innings of play.
home of the luxury Stearns & Foster mattress. And by Day Automotive, we're going to make your day.
Let's check out our Day Automotive, this day in Pirates baseball history. May 31st, 1915, the Pirates scored just one run in each game of a doubleheader against the Cubs, but win both games 1-0. That's our this day in Pirates history. Thank you to Day Automotive. That day, not too many runs scored in a doubleheader.
Look at that view we got. That's the grass even like kind of shimmers and changes from the different view. Amazing.
So well done. Masonette leads off. He swings and misses. 0-1. Edwin Masonette 0 for 2. Strikeout and a ground out.
There must be some kind of a roller or something that makes the grass lay that one direction.
Oh, I thought they just grew the grass in those stripes in different colors.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I forgot.
No, I'm not.
I'm guessing that there's just they get the grass laying one way and the other, and that's why we get the different lighting, the way it plays off each other. I know that from shagging in the outfield during batting practice for years, that when you get that cross hatch going, boy, you can get some funny hops out there. The ball's like this one rolling through the grass. In fact, you can see it a little bit right there as that ball was rolling out. It moves left, right, as it goes with the grain and then against the grain.
Leadoff single for Edwin Masonette.
The ball kind of, you can see it starts snaking a little bit. As soon as it hits one part of the grass that's where the grain's going against it, it'll make it move one way and then jump the other way. So it's pretty, it looks nice, but sometimes the outfielders aren't too crazy about it.
Go ahead run on board with nobody out for the Astros. Miguel Tejada 1 for 2. 14-game hitting streak right now. He continued it in the first inning with a double. Reached on an error by Andy LaRoche in the third. So the top of the order has the leadoff man on in the fifth. And Paul Maholm like to get a ground ball somewhere.
Oh.
Good move by Paul.
What a great timing on having this view of it. What it was, you could see exactly why it was so close.
You hear Jose Cruz, the first base coach, screaming at him.
If you don't move until you hear back, you're too late. You can see the bag and how close it was. Here comes the tag down.
One and one the count. 1 ball, 1 strike to Miguel Tejada.
The Duke and Maholm have always been very, very good with their moves.
One rides inside.
And that one there, you saw that there was no big leg kick. That was real quick to the plate. There's the big leg kick. And Mason, that's just standing there through all of that. That's why it was so close. Very deceptive.
Maholm's 2-1. That's 2-2. So getting Miguel Tejada here is something Maholm feels he needs to do. Get Tejada out. Hunter Pence on deck. Pirates could use a double play too. They lead the National League in that category with 53. And there is Pence, who was 1 for 2 this afternoon. Count is full, 3-2. So with nobody out, a guy who runs pretty well at first base, do you send him here?
Yeah, it depends on, do you think there's a possibility of a strikeout or not? That's what makes this decision. Do you think he can put the ball in play?
And he does. It's a roller down to Wilson. He goes to Freddie for a 1-to-first double play.
And if you think he can put the ball in play, you start the runner so you don't hit into a double play.
2 down as Tejada grounds out into 2. 54th double play this year for the Pirates.
And when Mahalam out there that put the ball in play becomes even more important, because you know if you're going to get if you get a strikeout, it's going to be a strike him out, throw him out double play, because your runner is getting an awful jump off of first base with Mahalam's good deceptive pickoff move. He's not going to be able to leave until Paul gets his foot down.
And Wilson takes care of Pence.
Nice.
And that half inning comes to an end rather quickly as Jack Wilson throws a little leather around. That'll be cool in the dugout, too. Different styles of shades. Nigel Morgan, Donnie Veal, Ian Snell wearing them. Bring your group to PNC Park is a great way to experience Pirates baseball, whether your group is 20 or 2,000. The Pirates have a package that is perfect for you. Ask about our Hats Off package, where your group can get a field box ticket and a Pirates cap for only $20. Pirates.com/groups or call 1-800-5-BUCKS. There you go. More shades today. Everybody's got to wear the sunglasses.
Hard hat, black shirt.
So that's the guy.
That's how I spot him, yeah.
Yeah. In case you missed it, Bob and I were talking about something last night on the radio side.
I was trying to describe who had caught the foul ball. We were talking about fans catching foul ball.
Guy in a black shirt and a Pirates hat.
I go, it's the guy with the black shirt and the pirate hat. Well, that probably wasn't the best way to describe a fan last night. That was half the stadium.
Masonette throws out Brandon Moss. Yeah, I was going to say you eliminated maybe 7,000 of the 37,000 last night.
A lot of black shirts out there today as the Caps warm-up jerseys were handed out before the games. I'm seeing a lot of those. There we go.
Jack Wilson, 0 for 1, grounded out to Miguel Tejada in the third inning. Score stuck at 1. 1 run on 5 hits for Houston, 1 run on 3 hits for the Pirates. The 1 run produced on a home run by Nate McLouth. And Wilson hits this one to Michaels, and there are 2 away. 2009 Pirates baseball on FSN Pittsburgh is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Southwest Airlines is ready when you are. Go to southwest.com, grab your bag. It's on. here is Paul Maholm. Paul grounded out to Masonette at second base. He's 0 for 1.
How'd you like the fireworks last night? I know you stayed around and saw them.
You know, you work in sports and in baseball, you see a lot of fireworks shows. I've never seen one like that.
Those sky blasts were pretty impressive.
That was awesome. Looking forward to the next one. There's two more.
Yeah, we used to start out, we'd have one all year, and it obviously become very popular, and we've kicked it up. Need some more.
Hampton gets the Pirates in order in the 5th. Score 1-1 here at PNC Park. Pierogies here. Get out of the way. Now this one was a little different kind of pace. They kind of pacing themselves.
It's kind of like the Belmont. They got to hold back a little bit, and then at the end, Hannah left first. She took off. Cheese tries to catch her, but nope. Hannah at the end.
Well, the Cheese wasn't running enough today. Carlos Lee leads off the top of the 6th against Paul Maholm. 1-0. Lee so far today 0 for 2. Flat out to Craig Monroe in left field in the first inning, then bounced out to Adam LaRoche at first. Career 167 hitter coming into action against Maholm. And Maholm's 2-0.
That
3-0.
Last time that the big men of Lee and Berkman came up, they had both hitters had runners on base, and they did nothing at the ground ball, and then Berkman struck out on a high heater. Still early in the game, but the A&L Motors Keys are holding up. McLouth counting for our only run, and Paul, for the most part, been holding down Lee and Berkman.
And the leadoff walk again. The last time Paul issued a leadoff walk, it was to Lance Berkman. In the second, he came around to score.
Yep. There's our A&L Motors Keys again. Keep the big bats down.
So far, McLouth is fresh after a day off, 2 for 2. So Lance Berkman, switch hitter, batting right-handed against Maholm. He showed bunt, but took a strike. When do you suppose the last time it was Lance Berkman bunted for a base hit?
I don't know. It might not be that far away, because he's pretty crafty. You know, like in a situation like this, they're giving him a ton of room over there at third.
Trying to draw Andy LaRoche in.
Andy's playing probably 15 good 15 feet behind the baseline.
He was trying to drop one down there.
Yep.
Now with an 0-2 count, he'll be swinging away. Carlos Lee, the runner at first. Nobody out. A 1-1 ball game, top of the 6th inning. A pitch. And Adam LaRoche will take care of this. That's a big out. Forced play on the infield. And the batter will be Jason Michaels. Savard on Sports Beat's Kids Night is Thursday, June 18th, and Stan needs your help with the show. We're looking for 2 boys and 2 girls aged 10 to 17 to be his co-hosts. To enter our random drawing, visit fsninsider.com today. The deadline for entry is June 10th. So make sure you get involved in this, and you could help out Stan Savard on Sports Beat. That's fsninsider.com for more. Michaels flied out to center, flied out to right. And he goes to right again. This time it's a little deeper. Moss on the track, and Moss makes the catch. 2 down.
Michael spent a lot of time in this ballpark last year. He's no dummy. He's going for that short porch to right field. Got a pitch up and away, and waited until that ball got just about right over the top of the plate so he could make good contact with the head of the bat. You try to catch that ball too far out in front because it's away from you. That's when you get it out on the end and it goes nowhere. You have to be patient. Let that ball get deep in the strike zone.
Kempinger is also 0 for 2. And the job now for Mahalam became a little bit easier, but he's not out of the woods yet. You want to spoil that leadoff walk. Carlos Lee standing at first. You got Berkman to fly out foul to LaRoche. Michaels to go to right field. And now Kempinger with 2 down has a 1-0 count. And this one down to Andy LaRoche. And Mahalam will indeed strand that leadoff walk to Carlos Lee. To the bottom of the 6th, it's 1-1.
It was the long ball by Nate. He mashed it to start things off for the Bucks. We're going to look at where it hit the bat. Little inside pitch. He turns on it. Look at that hip fly open. Head of the bat right to the ball. Ball out of the stadium. Coors Light Freeze Cam brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer.
And there is Nate McLouth. 4th career leadoff home run in the 1st inning. He singled in the 3rd. 2 for 2 off Mike Hampton today. 1-1 ball game. Pirates trying to get some runs here for Paul Mahalam.
Need to make a move.
McLeod hitting .259.
Come on, Nate, you're my key man today.
He was in the keys.
Keep it going. Keep it going.
1-1. Well, we told you about his new haircut yesterday, and again looked at it today. And when he was in the clubhouse yesterday, I walked in and I said, "Who's the new guy?" I thought they brought somebody in, didn't tell us. Masonette throws out McLeod, 1 down. So Mike Hampton has been settling in since giving up the lone run in the first inning. He's had clean innings in the second and the fifth. And he's faced 4 batters in the first, third, and fourth. Andy LaRoche takes strike 1. He's 0 for 2 today. Hampton in 2000 with the Mets, the National League Championship Series MVP. He's got a lot of accolades. And this one down to Masonette again. 2 down quickly for the Pirates in the 6th.
Well, in his heyday when he was real good, he would get those games going where he'd get a ton of ground balls. He certainly has his share of them this afternoon.
2-time All-Star. You know, one of the things we talked about is hitting. He has 5 Silver Sluggers. And for a pitcher to have 5, that's almost unheard of. Freddie Sanchez 0 for 1 with a walk.
And he really was a great base runner, too. On any given day, he was probably the best base runner that the manager would have on the bench on days where he wasn't pitching.
And Miguel Tejada sits down Freddie Sanchez. 1-2-3 go the Pirates for the 3rd time this ball game. We're heading to the 7th inning. Game still deadlocked. Today here in one of the suites with members of his family. Let's take a look at the farm report. Shelby Ford for Indianapolis helped defeat Pawtucket 4-3 in 13 innings. Had a steal of home in the 8th inning. Alberto Quintero flies this one to right field. Quickly 1 away for Maholm in the top of the 7th. But Shelby Ford getting a steal of home, you just don't see that much anymore. Jacoby Ellsbury had one that was highly publicized early in the season for Boston, but you just don't see that a lot.
Nope. Very exciting play when it happens.
So here is Hampton, 75 career runs batted in, 2nd among active players.
I wonder if it was a double steal or just a straight steal of home.
Straight steal.
Those are Extremely rare. Those are rare as parrot's teeth.
That's rare.
Yeah, you won't find any of those either.
And though it's not rare, as Hampton getting a hit, his 7th base hit of the season. He's now 1 for 3. 1 out single for Hampton. Edwin Masonette also 1 for 3.
Well, what a great series he's having.
Well, Masonette is getting an opportunity right now. Kaz Matsui was placed on the DL Friday night with a sore right hamstring. Matt Cada has been recalled from AAA Round Rock to take his spot. And so with Matsui a little questionable anyway coming into the series, they brought Masonette up. He goes 4 for 4 in his first game with 2 doubles and a home run and a base hit. Last night, Masonette contributed, hitting in the 8th spot. He scored 2 runs, walking twice, and went 1 for 2.
Joe Kerrigan doesn't like that 2-0 count. Come out right now and basically say, I don't like what I'm seeing here. Just got to get back into that strike zone. Don't dig any kind of a hole. You got the better hitters coming up here. Tejada on deck. Chance for a double play ball.
The Pirates got 1 double play ball in the 5th inning. Miguel Tejada hit into it with Masonette aboard. Jesse Chavez stretching out in the bullpen. Strike call to Masonette. And Paul Maholm starting the 7th inning through 6 1/3 so far. And just has not been able to enjoy a lead. Mike Hampton's done a good job controlling the Pirates hitters today.
Pick-off throw maybe.
And this one is through and into right field. Masonette's got himself another hit. And now it gets a little more curious for Paul Maholm with 2 on and 1 out for Miguel Tejada.
A 2-1 count. I thought maybe they might try and get a little tricky, a little hit and run type action, but nobody was moving, but the ball still sneaking through the right side, as you can see with our Southwest field cam. That would have been a great hit and run base hit. Probably got Hampton to third if he was on the move. Still got to think ground ball, still think double play.
Tejada hit into 1 in the 5th. Maholm would like him to hit into 1 right now. Hampton the lead from second base. Masonette off of first. And the pitch. Strike call. Tejada leads the National League with 20 doubles now. He's passed Freddie Sanchez. Passed him last night.
Tough for him to get a double in that right field gap. McLeod way over in the right center. He's trying to close that down. Not much room between Moss and Nate.
Ball gets away from Diaz, and the runners move up, and the force play's gone.
There goes that double play opportunity. That is not a good thing to have happen this stage of the game. With a couple of guys on to have them move up on a freebie. And that should go just a pass ball. I mean, that hit nothing but leather. And they have ruled it correctly, a pass ball. Bob Webb, the score here at PNC Park this afternoon.
Two balls, 1 strike, 1 out, first base open. Miguel Tejada with 2 runners in scoring position. Infield playing halfway. 2-2. Hunter Pence waiting on deck. We will see what Paul Maholm can do with Miguel Tejada here. And Tejada 1 for 3. Reached on an error by Andy LaRoche in the 3rd inning.
Watch Diaz, see which way he moves. If he moves inside, they're going to try and tie him up with a fastball.
And this one is looped over the head of Freddie Sanchez. Sanchez can't get it. That's going to score one, and the Astros take the lead.
That's why you hate to bring that infield in. I mean, Freddie's got that in his back pocket if he's not playing in. To try and cut off that run at home and open yourself up to a little hit like that.
22nd multi-hit game for Miguel Tejada.
You can't cover everything. You got to make your choices. What are you going to try and do, and what will you give up? And then you just hope you've made the right move.
Pence takes low, ball one. Yeah, so Tejada is really, since the first month of the season, I mean, he has torn it up in May. Came into the game third in the National League in batting average. He's now tied Orlando Hudson of Los Angeles for the most number of hits with 69. He now leads baseball, or leads the National League, I should say, with 22 multi-hit games. He's got the lead in doubles with 20. So Miguel Tejada has been outstanding for Houston, and his productivity has shown in the last couple of days here at PNC Park. Pence line drive. Jack Wilson snares it. Goes to Freddie Sanchez. Back to first. Inning's over.
That might be a game saver.
Whoa, what a play by Jack Wilson. Wilson saves a run at least right here.
We may be looking back at this play in the ninth inning saying this is the one that won the game.
Craig Monroe starts the bottom of the 7th for the Pirates, trailing 2-1. An unearned run given up by Paul Maholm in the 7th, top of the 7th, and Monroe 0 for 2, facing Mike Hampton. Both starting pitchers today, Bob, have gone deep.
Yep. You know, kind of reminding me of that last inning, reminded me about what we were saying in our open about Paul and kind of snake bit a little bad luck. I mean, he's got 1 run to work with today, and now he gives up an unearned run in the 7th inning to fall behind 2-1. A pass ball moves him up. Then you bring the infield in, and then a little jam shot blooper that barely makes the grass ends up knocking in a run.
Monroe down to Berkman, and there is 1 out. Well, today's play that made you smile happened at the end of the top of the 7th inning. Brought to you by our friends at Aspen Dental and Jack Wilson, as Hunter Pence had one headed for center field. Diving stop to Sanchez to LaRoche, and another double play for the Pirates. 2 today, 55 on the year. Great start to the DP by Jack Wilson.
And that will be a huge play that makes us smile a number of times this afternoon if we can get a couple of runs. Make that play really meaningful.
Adam LaRoche, so far today, is 1 for 2. Hit one off the foot of Mike Hampton last time at the plate, and then was able to beat it out for a hit.
If Maholm was going to get a win, it's starting to look like we need to score a couple runs in a hurry.
It'd have to be this inning. When you look at what the situation is, you've got John Graybo, left-hander. Jesse Chavez, the right-hander, up. Maholm's already thrown 108 pitches. So Paul's going to get a positive decision today. Pirates need a run
in a hurry.
Need 2 runs this inning, and then they have to hold it. And LaRoche going to make it a little tougher as he strikes out.
And Hampton has given up just 3 hits this afternoon. This is his first time this year going up 6 2/3. He's at his high point. He hasn't pitched 6 2/3 until right now.
And Robinson Diaz bunts it right back to him, and then is thrown out. Diaz can't believe it. Perry Hill not exactly excited about the call made by Wally Bell. And John Russell's going to come out and argue this one. It looked like the throw pulled Berkman off the bag, and Bell said no.
We're going to take a look at it. And he's got the bag and he's got the ball. He's out.
Close play at first base. John Russell still discussing with Wally Bell. 2-1 Houston. Is on to take the place of Paul Maholm, and with 2 outs and nobody on, Robinson Diaz trying to bunt, and Berkman caught the bag with his foot, so Diaz is out. But it's still a difficult play in the way that Diaz has pretty good power, and
well,
he can hit the ball.
This is one of the things I've been on my soapbox a number of times over the years. I mean, with 2 outs, nobody on, I want you to swing the bat and try to get yourself in scoring position with a double.
Andy LaRose short hops Carlos Lee.
Even if you do get a successful bunt, which is always a big if, now it takes 2 more hits now to score you from first base, and there's 2 outs. It's just there's times for that, I guess, if you're trying to get the pitcher out of the way for next inning, something like that. But I've never been a big fan of the 2 out, nobody on bunt for a base hit, unless you're a base stealer.
.67 strikes out of the 108 pitches for Paul Maholm. He's done after 7. And Lance Berkman takes the first pitch outside, ball 1. Berkman without a hit today. He did score the first run of the game when he was a leadoff walk in the 2nd inning. Struck out in the 3rd, and then popped out foul to Adam LaRoche in the 6th.
He's glad to see Maholm gone.
Line drive to Nate McLouth. 2 down. If you're traveling and can't watch your Pirates on FSN, you can always catch the game on your computer with MLB.tv, the ultimate baseball experience, featuring 100 out-of-market games per week, live on your computer, and catch those you missed on demand. For more details, visit Pirates.com, where baseball is always on.
Yeah, you can go back, do a little research. It's kind of the way we use that sometimes. You can go back and do your own film work.
Exactly.
You want to see a game that, next week when we're playing the Astros on the road, you can look back and see what certain hitters did against certain pitchers. It's really a great thing.
It's like having your own little DVR on your laptop too. You can go back and forth. You didn't like what Bob Walk said, you want to hear it again, you can go back.
I always do it with the sound turned off.
3 up and 3 down for Jesse Chavez in the 8th inning. Pirates looking for a run. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Jason Michaels has moved over to left field for Houston. Michael Bourne is in center. And a new pitcher on the mound, too. Chris Sampson making his 23rd appearance.
See opponent batting average fine 234 along with that very nice 217 earned run average. Earned run averages haven't meant much in this series, though. And Hampton this afternoon, his ERA to start things off was 5.63. Goes 7 innings, gives up 1 run on 3 hits. What was Muller's ERA? It was up about 9, wasn't it?
8.5.
8.5. He threw a fabulous complete game win. Gave up just a run, I believe. And then yesterday you had Wandy Rodriguez go out there with a 1-7 something, 171.
171.
And he was gone.
That didn't matter.
What, after 4.5?
Brandon Moss is gone here to start the inning. Chris Sampson strikes him out. So 1 down in the bottom of the 8th. Look at today's leader stat update on our Fox spots, brought to you by Bridgestone Firestone, National League leaders in home batting average. Dodgers number 1, 302. Pirates right behind them at 287. Mets, who come in tomorrow, 283. Jack Wilson trying to bunt. Right now, the Pirates need some hits. They need some base runners.
We need one for sure.
So Chris Sampson, who lives in Houston, he's out of Channelview, Texas. Delivers to Wilson, who reaches for it. Grounds it foul. Sampson played collegiately at Texas Tech. Speaking of Texas baseball, did you see the result of the NCAA tournament game yesterday between Texas and Boston College?
Played a long one, huh?
This one down the line foul. Yeah, it was a mere 7 hours and 3 minutes.
Oh, just a 9-inning game then.
23 innings. Well, college baseball games tend to go long anyway.
Yes,
but not like
stretch
that.
It out.
Longest game in collegiate baseball history at the Division I level. Texas would win it. 0-2 pitch. And Wilson down to third. Keppinger playing along the line anyway. Takes it away and throws him out. There are 2 away. And now Delwyn Young, who was out on deck, will go back to the dugout. And Eric Hinsky will hit for him.
And then this kind of goes along with what I was talking about earlier about the bunting stuff. There's 2 outs, nobody on. You're looking for something long now. You're looking for a home run.
Well, Hinsky's got 1 on the year.
So you put somebody up there that has power potential. 2 outs, nobody out on. You're looking to drive a ball, gap shot, extra bases, put one over the fence. So in this instance, then you're going with a hitter that has a better chance of tying this game up with 1 swing.
Hinsky has never faced Sampson in his career. Takes a breaking ball low. Sampson a long look in. And Hinsky to the right side. Berkman handles it. And he'll beat Hinsky to the bag. And another 1-2-3 inning. Pirates go quietly in the 8th. The road ahead for the Pirates. The New York Mets come to town starting tomorrow. Tuesday, Wednesday nights right here on FSN, and a business person special on Thursday. Tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, will be seen on FSN Pittsburgh. Along with Bob Walk, Tim Neverett, and here is Evan Meek to pitch in the top of the 9th inning. Pirates trailing 2-1.
Evan's got to throw up a 0 right now. Keep it just a 1-run ball game. Don't want the bottom of the 9th to be any tougher than it's going to be anyway.
Jesse Chavez, a clean inning. All zeros. After Mahalam went 7. Struck out 4, gave up 8 hits, 2 runs. Only one of them earned. Jeff Keppinger, Humberto Quintero in the pitcher's spot, due up for Cecil Cooper's Astros. And the first pitch just missed from Evan Meek. Astros came in on a 7-game losing streak. They won Friday night. Pirates would win last night 7-4.
I really hate it when teams come in with those losing streaks like that. I'd rather them come in on a 7-game winning streak. You know, baseball is just such a game of averages.
Well, look at the beginning of the season when the Florida Marlins came here. They were 11-1, had baseball's best record.
Yeah, I'll take that any day.
And then the Pirates swept them.
Because they're due for some losses. That's just the way baseball is.
Yeah. The Cubs had an 8-game losing streak, and then the rains came, and that rain-shortened 5-inning game caused that streak to end in a 6-1 Pirate loss at Wrigley Field. Three balls and a strike to Jeff Keppinger. 0 for 3. And the pitch. This one will stay fair.
It looked like it kind of came back into fair territory. I thought it might be foul for a moment and kept working its way back further and further toward the infield.
Like it had some English on it.
Our Southwest Field cam will give us a look. Definitely was right over the top of the bag.
One down, and now the catcher Quintero. Quietly, he's had a good day. He drove in the game's first run with a base hit, had a base hit in the 4th, and then flied out in the 7th, 2 for 3. And he is trying to bunt.
Catching is one of those positions that if your name is not mentioned a whole lot on the air, you're probably having a pretty good day. So you're not messing anything up back there. There's not a whole lot of running back to the backstop or any of that stuff.
1 ball, 1 strike to Quintero.
I guess kind of like an offensive lineman.
Yeah, you never see those guys, really.
If his name is being mentioned a lot, it's probably not good.
Yeah, a lot of times the offensive guard is not pointed out quite a bit. Or the right side tackle. The left side tackle is the guy who makes all the money in the NFL.
Yeah.
Right side tackle doesn't make as much, doesn't get the notoriety. They all hang out with each other. Their own little cave in the locker room. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out.
Umpires, same way. They don't want to hear their name.
Yeah. Well, the umpires all have the same name. It's either ump or blue. Today they're wearing blue.
You don't want to call one of these blue. I learned that right away.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's not good. Ump's not good either.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Fly ball to left center. Monroe battling the sun. 2 down.
They prefer to be called by their first name most of the time. I mean, that's most of the umpires. Yeah, that's the way they like you to talk to them. If you got a problem with John Hirschbeck, the home plate umpire, that he'd like you to say, John, I thought that was outside. They do not want to hear blue ever.
Evan Meek hands the ball to John Russell. And Sean Burnett is going to take over. Our Columbia Gas 811 call to the pen has been made. We'll tell you about Sean Burnett and the Pirates' move when we come back. Houston leading it 2-1. Is on 2-1 Houston. I want you to support the Pittsburgh Fallen Heroes and thank everyone that protects and serves to make us safer. Visit FSNinsider.com today to order your Fallen Heroes t-shirt. All proceeds are evenly distributed between the heroes' families. Michael Bourne, who entered the game as part of a double switch when Chris Sampson entered to pitch for Houston, at the plate against Sean Burnett. Burnett deals a strike. Due up for the Pirates, the top of the order: Nate McLouth, Andy LaRoche, Freddie Sanchez. They will hit in the bottom of the ninth inning. There is strike two to Bourne. So Burnett trying to get the Pirates to the plate in the bottom of the ninth. See if they can come from behind today. This is the rubber game of the three-game set. 1-2.
Wipe him out with that breaking ball, Bernie. Oh, that was it. He didn't swing. That's the pitch I thought we'd see, that little one-handed helicopter swing on.
Yeah, Bourne, if he gets the bat on the ball somewhere in the infield, there's a chance he can beat it out.
He can move. Wow.
20 out of 9 in the series. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Michael Bourne. The 2-2 pitch. Fouled away. Well, Burnett trying to find a way to get Bourne out. Bourne has faced Burnett 5 times prior to this, and Burnett has hit him 3 times. Beg your pardon. Bourne has hit Burnett 3 times.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
hit him 3 times.
He was
5 at bats.
Throwing inside. He got him. And Sean Burnett does the job and retires Michael Bourne. So Burnett Last rounds for the Pirates. Bottom of the ninth, 2-1 Houston. In case you missed it in baseball, Josh Hamilton out of the lineup today for Texas. Abdominal pain. With an MRI tomorrow. Mark Teixeira, 4 runs batted in for the Yankees. 16th home run of the season. As New York and Cleveland are tied in the ninth right now. Josh Willingham 2 for 3. And Jason Bay, his 15th homer for Boston. Red Sox leading Toronto 8-1 in the 8th. Well, Nate McLouth, who started it in the bottom of the first inning with a home run. Pirates have not had a run since. 13 men have been retired in a row, and LaTroy Hawkins coming on for the save to try to win it for Mike Hampton.
See, he's 5 out of 7 nailing down these saves. Well, we got the lineup where we want it. Leadoff man aboard, or leading off. Hopefully he'll be aboard.
And McLouth down to first. 1 pitch and 1 out.
He hit it nice. Must have been looking breaking ball, because that's what he got right down the middle, and he spanked it. Didn't help though. Nice play by Berkman. That ball looked like it kind of came up on him a little bit and hung with it.
Andy LaRoche hitting in the second spot for the second day in a row.
Pirate hat.
He is 0 for 3. And he takes a fastball strike. LaRoche started the day hitting .307. His average dipped down to .301 heading into this at bat. The veteran LaTroy Hawkins. Strike 2 called.
See the first 2 fastballs at 95. He can still rush it up there pretty good. What will he do now? He's out in front. Will he come with the breaking ball?
0-2. That's outside and high. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Just trying a little paint with that fastball.
Well, Hawkins came up with the Twins, was with the Twins from 95 to 2003. Over to the Cubs, Giants, Baltimore, Colorado, Yankees, and now with Houston.
And here comes the breaker.
And that one does not get Andy to chase.
Boy, that's a hard slider, 90 miles an hour. Whoa.
Better hope that one, if you're going to hit it, starts a little bit more inside than that one did.
Yeah, he wasn't going to do much with that one.
2-2. Pirates need a run.
He's going to try and dot an I with that fastball again.
And this one is strike 3. It goes to the backstop. Quintero's throw to first is there to get him. Strikeout 2-3, the putout, and the Pirates are down to their last out.
A great play by Quintero. You might say, well, he messed up by missing it anyway, but he's looking down and away for a fastball. It's up and in. Goes off the glove, and he got a nice bounce off the stones in the back. Lucky bounce, I guess you could say, because it's not a flat surface back there, the limestone. That ball could have bounced anywhere, and it came almost right back at him. A lot of nooks and crannies, those blocks.
15 straight Pirates hitters have gone down. Freddie Sanchez trying to keep the Pirates alive against LaTroy Hawkins. Takes strike 1. Sanchez with 4 home runs. Without a hit today, 0 for 2 and a walk. Oh, 1 pitch. And Sanchez hits this one to the left side. That's through. And the tying runs aboard in the bottom of the ninth.
They're still alive.
Sanchez with a hit. Now Delwyn Young is going to hit for Craig Monroe.
good breaking ball that he put at the knees. He got his ground ball, but Fred able to find the hole.
So John Russell is going to send Delwyn Young up there, a switch hitter who can bat left-handed, and Nigel Morgan is going to run for Sanchez. Pitch to Young, coming from Hawkins. That's high. Again, 2 men out. The Pirates trying to get Nigel Morgan around desperately. Morgan's got the lead from first. And the pitch, a strike call, 1-1. Nigel with 10 stolen bases.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's why he was out there, to try and get himself to second base, and maybe Young can tie this up with a single. Well, he's out there because he's much faster than Freddie, and he's carrying the tying run, regardless whether he steals or not.
And Young fouls it away, and the Pirates down to their final strike. Delwyn Young trying to keep things alive.
But he certainly has the base stealing type speed. He's staring across at Beasley, see if he's given the green light. Legs are fine, got a sore head's all.
One and two to Young. Hawkins, the long look in at Quintero. Now he's ready. One in the dirt, and Nigel Morgan is nearly caught. He overslid the bag. Berkman didn't tag him. Boy, what a break there for Nigel Morgan.
I think if Nigel breaks right away with the ball in the dirt, I think he makes it, but hesitation. Right there, you see that hesitation, the first one, that's what messed him up. If he would have took off right away, I don't think he could have thrown the ball all the way down to second base and stopped him. But once he hesitated, then he had nothing he could do but get back to first as quick as he could. Berkman almost got him twice.
Quintero giving the signs to LaTroy Hawkins. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Morgan goes. Pitch is swung on and missed. Ball game over. So the Pirates drop this one today. Unable to get a run in the 9th.
Our Jekyll and Hyde offense continues.
Well, Cecil Cooper's team takes 2 of 3 here for the